Matt Raby, glad you're here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Raby and Company, EXP extraordinaire.
I don't know about that, but sure.
So you've been in real estate a long time. We've been working together for quite a while, but how did you get started in real estate?
So 12 years. I don't know if everyone would say that's a long time. It feels like a really long time. Originally 2008 through 13 or so, I was in education and coaching high school football, basketball.
Yeah.
And working kind of on the side for side jobs because, you're a broke teacher coach that can't do much. So little fun money. I would go and help with a friend that had like investment properties.
Okay.
Clean, dig holes, paint,
Just whatever.
take stuff to the dump. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, started talking to them about like, well, maybe getting your license and, getting into real estate more than just being a little, grunt running around doing things like that. And I grew up with like, my parents had a bunch of investment properties too.
That's
so,
right.
So it was kind of a natural thing. And maybe all of a sudden it just like someone introduced the idea to me and away we went and here we are.
But it was really hard to break away from teaching.
No. Yes, no. It's not for everybody. And I would say like real estate's probably not for everybody either.
Yeah.
It can be really hard. And there's maybe a few guests that you're going to have that, over the time you're going to do this or that people know that make it look easy. And it's really not,
Well, I don't know, man. You make it look pretty easy.
No, I just show up and do what I'm supposed to do and just do that consistently. Show up, So.
Yeah, I forgot to introduce you as the mayor. That's
No,
your nickname
no.
there. Call sign Mayor Raby.
Mayor of, you give me a hard time, of Medical Lake. Yeah, that's a distinguished
right.
honor.
You grew up in Medical Lake. That's
Not the mayor of Spokane. I don't want any of that smoke. So, yeah, like I grew up out in Medical Lake and grew up on Silver Lake. So,
Nice.
like got a little affinity for like water and waterfront properties and all that kind of fun stuff. But can't beat waking up and seeing the lake, any body of water, to be honest with you.
Totally.
So, yeah, and just grew up doing that. And that's also where I taught and was in the community quite a bit. And that really helped kind of spur on this new career when it did take off. So,
yeah, pretty tight knit. And that's why I call you the mayor, man. I feel
That's
like
right.
everybody knows Matt Raby out there.
a lot of people think I still live there, which
That's
I
good.
don't. But secret's
That's
out.
good. We'll
if
get
you're
it.
watching,
Yeah, we'll get into that.
yeah, or listening or whatever we're doing here.
We're doing both. Doing all
Okay.
the things.
I got a face for radio, I've been told. So
Likewise. Probably should turn off the cameras. But so when you got into real estate, what did you think it was going to be? And then as you actually like boots on the ground, started working, started hustling, did it meet your expectations or how was it different?
The thing that took me the longest was to understand like how it worked. Like, how do you get paid to do this? You know what I mean? Like I had barely bought a house. I bought a house in 2010. Like they were throwing out the first time home buyer like incentive things.
Yeah.
It was ending and I was like, I better do something with
That
my
was the
life.
Obama tax credit, right?
Yeah,
was
tax
it
credit.
8,000? I think it was at the time?
7,500 or 8,000
Yeah.
or something like that. Maybe I
Yeah.
got shorted 500, but I'll find you somewhere and get it.
Yeah.
But and we bought that and it went okay, like buying. But as a first time home buyer, I was kind of like, I wish I would have known maybe a few more things or a few more ideas would have been communicated to me. Better to be maybe a little more informed or just, and I don't regret doing it at all, the purchase, but that kind of spurred when I started thinking about this career and I didn't want to make that mistake. So like back to your original question, like, is it different than what I thought it would be? It was a lot of, I took my experience personally and like said, how can I make this better? What can I do to do that? And so that's kind of fueled my business.
You kind of grew up around real estate with your buddy you'd mentioned, and then your parents obviously having rentals, and then you actually went and bought a house and it probably got your wheels turning a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. That's definitely started things.
And then I know that you started at a brokerage that
I could throw it out there. Soleil. That's where I was at.
That's right. Soleil. So, but that setup is, I don't think discount brokerage is the right way to say it, but
No. Turned into Kelly Wright.
yeah, but not a huge. they didn't have a high split, but you also didn't have a ton of resources right away. You were kind of just like figuring it out.
That was also part of it was like, hey, you can come to this brokerage, which you only pay them a very small monthly fee, like in the grand scheme of things, but you know, you don't have splits or do things with them. So again, it was still very like, well, and then I learned you're on your own though, especially at that place. And I had a lot of people in the industry come to me over the first couple of years of having, you know, a little bit of success and some sales in that industry, and just like, how are you doing this, or what's going on, or, you know, how did that happen, kind of thing. And so,
what was it like going from, hey, I know what I'm getting paid every month, to waking up every day unemployed for the last 12 years?
12, 13, 15 years ago in education, you weren't getting paid a lot. So it's gotten a little better for those folks, and they should be, you know, it should be higher than what it was for sure. So that's good that we're rewarding them more. But yeah, you know, I had maybe a month of 3 or 4 sales consecutively that really, like, one year when I was still at the school, and that got my wheels spinning, like, oh, okay, well, this, you know, and for me, honestly, and I just want to make sure this is really clear, like, it's never really been about like the money for me. Like, honestly, like, you are paid for what you do, for a service you provide. It's always been about the service, but that definitely made the transition easier of, oh, I can survive and do this. And the crazy part, and we're kind of jumping a little bit back in the past and whatnot, but my wife, bless her heart, Teresa, the rock of the Raby household, Mother Teresa, yes. I was going to do my license exam in 2013, the morning of, when she decided to, in her, you know, very fun way of showing me that she was pregnant. And I was like, oh, no pressure. Like, I'll go down here to go get my exam. I'll go get this. I'll knock this thing out. And, you know, I got no responsibilities. Oh, wait, I do now. So yeah, it was interesting.
Fear's a big motivator.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
It helps.
So, but you also got in like slower times, lower price points and things as we saw it build up, obviously.
I call it little brother Spokane. Like, we won't go back to the times where you could get a starter home for $79,000, or, you know, and have it be decent, where you're not going to have to demolish it or get a permit with the city to start over, you know? So, and that, I don't know what I mean, I haven't thought about it a ton because I'm not there. I don't know what I would do in 2025 if I was starting out, but I know that, you know, there's a lot of people out there trying to make it and to do those things. And for me, it was good timing. And we always say, I wish I would have bought my house earlier. I wish I would have got into this career earlier, or we wish we'd have done a lot of things, you know? Yeah. But
hindsight's 2020. Yeah. But also, you still got in at a great time. And then, you know, you'd mentioned it's been about the service and things. And what I always think is funny is the thing that's portrayed online is like the lifestyle of realtors. I can tell you all the realtors I know, like, that's not reality. They're not just hanging out on a beach in, you know, Bali or something like that. And, cause you're on call, you work the weird hours. Yeah. It might give you flexibility to get kid pickup, or, you know, I got to just work from home. I got to handle something today. But, the whole image that, you can work from anywhere, which you can, but it's still work. You're still working, and you're on call 24/7.
If you are working, basically, it could be really. There's a lot of things you can do that don't matter, but the real work, you know, like that, it'll add up. And if you're going to be able to help people, it takes time. For sure, so
totally. And one thing that you've said a lot that I love is a lot of times your best ability is availability, and that's very real.
I stole that from somebody for the record, so
we're gonna put it on your tombstone.
Yeah.
So obviously now 12 years in, definitely, I mean, you're one of the top agents in Spokane, running a team. You have some awesome agents with you. I don't want to say under you, because that's not really how it is, and I know that's not how you think of them. But so what's kind of changed in the Spokane market over the last few years that you've seen? Like,
well, I mean, just the stats, you know, interest rates, home prices, both going up and up, over, you know, since we talked about 2013 was my first year, for sure, since, you know, the end of COVID or the start of COVID or the middle, like whenever that was. But You know, the secret got out for whatever reason that Spokane was awesome, and a lot of people decided that they wanted to try it, and they're finding out it is, you know, and
Yeah.
it has been. I know it's a little different in the last even decade, 5 years for a lot of reasons, but it's still an awesome place. Like we talked about Silver Lake, you know, like you can go to a ton of lakes in the area, hiking, mountain biking, sports, flowers, parks, like whatever you're into, you can find that here.
It's the greater Spokane area. It's definitely like the inland northwest, what you can do that's so close.
Yeah.
Spokane doesn't suck. You
No.
know? I had to get away to learn that, you know, got away for college, but gave me good perspective on, this is a pretty darn great place overall.
And now that the secret's out, I just feel like, you know, it's been super competitive, and now we have these rates that are higher, and people have settled in. Like a lot of the people that are here, you don't live in a house for, I mean, I get so many people like, oh man, 30 years I'm locked into this place. And it's like, well, you know, not really, you know, you can sell and you do move. And I think, you know, I saw a stat a while ago on the actual number. I'd have to look if it's changed, but you move 4 to 5 times, you own 4 to 5 homes in your adult life kind of thing. So you're not locked in, but it's really hard for people right now. They do feel locked in. I think that's the biggest difference.
Biggest challenge in the market is that lock-in effect with the 3% rates, you know.
And for buyers and sellers, I'm telling them, I'm giving them the same advice because a lot of them are doing the same thing. I just was meeting with a seller the other day. Buyers are going to get off the fence when your house is put together, it's dialed in. They don't have to come in and do a whole lot.
It's a make me move situation.
Yes, yeah. Like you have to
be the right house.
What's going to get them over the edge and onto that. We joke about like splinter butt is a term we use where they're sitting on the fence for so long they've you know, splinters in the butt. And there's a lot of, maybe not a lot, but there's people with splinters in their butt right now buying. So
not to be confused with a Bob Knight reference or quote at all. So, so obviously, I mean, we kind of touched on Medical Lake, and I know you've personally made a recent move, but what are you seeing? You know, what neighborhoods do you really like in Spokane or areas, I guess? And then, you know, which ones are you seeing something interesting in, like one that's just hotter than most? Because it does seem to be pockets, whether it's price range or areas or whatever.
Well, there's 3. Not moving. So if I get that, I was thinking of it. If I get off topic, reel me back because I got 3. So like obviously I got to get a shout out to Medical Lake. Medical Lake's couple of lakes in that zip code, you know, you can be 15, 20 minutes to Spokane. It's a slower, quieter lifestyle setting that a lot of people are kind of looking for. Yet you can, you know, you still are near town and can go do things if needed. So that's a big one. You have a bunch of price points. You got lakefront stuff. You have acreage. You have, you know, in town. You have 1892 built homes, which is kind of wild as well. So
totally,
you know, homesteads and things like that. So that's one, obviously. 99205, which is Shadle downriver. Like obviously I've said for years, like the best bang for your buck, no matter what in Spokane. If you're looking for quality homes, get your sewer lines looked at. But other than that, you know, like it's got so much awesome stuff going on, from the Flying Goat downriver, golfing, parks. Dwight Merkel's big right now with a lot of different, you can do so much stuff there, splash pads.
That overhaul.
Yeah, it's, you know, very popular and centrally located. You can kind of be north, south, out to the valley pretty quick from that area. Another big one, and, you know, I moved north, is not necessarily 5 Mile, but like Colbert. I've noticed like that area out there is really big with, you know, a ton of people moving out there. You get a little mix of, you can get newer homes, you can get stuff on acreage. That's a really big, you know, popular place right now.
North has just exploded.
Yeah.
I grew up, obviously, you know, but I grew up in Northwest Spokane there off Indian Trail. And then I go to the Y now, and it's just unbelievable how much is going on out there and just sprawling. It's just, we're pretty soon. I mean, probably in the next 10 years, it's all going to be connected all the way to Deer Park. I think
might need
at this
a
point,
3rd high school or something up there too, which is crazy. So
probably Glad it won't hit my taxes on the levy there. But
Lucky you.
yeah, you know what I was thinking about this too. You talk about Medical Lake, and it's like 15 to 20 minutes, but you know, me living kind of in the country, southwest of town between Cheney and Spokane and stuff. It's to get friends to come visit. It's like, oh, it's so far. It was like it's literally 20 minutes to the heart of downtown Spokane.
Yeah.
It's really not, but you get that close in acreage too, or just small town feel, but you still have the amenities of.
And
Spokane.
that's, I mean, I can't even go over all of them. Like there's so many areas where you can be 15 to 20 minutes to town, to go to a Gonzaga game, to go to the Fox for something, to go to a Broadway show, whatever you want to go do. You want to just go eat on a Friday night, you know, go hang out downtown or pick your spot. Right. But, you got the valley, you know, north, south, west, like there's just all kinds of opportunity. So
Totally. Yeah. So you'd kind of touched on, you were talking to a seller, but what trends in this market today are you noticing, you know, for a buyer and a seller?
yeah, like, you know, touching on earlier, you have to have things just ready to go. I would encourage more buyers to just, you know, put their own spin on a place too. Like we get a lot of people that are looking for like the perfect, it's got to be ready. It's got to be like I was saying earlier, but, you don't want to probably go too unique because you may be selling it and you know, that's maybe not as marketable. And Teresa's telling me all the time, don't embarrass me at people's houses. Like don't pick on, you know, things they have done to their house or, you know, like don't, you know, take off your real estate lenses or whatever. And be a human. Like that's hard for me.
Hard to turn off when you just, all you do is inspect homes all day and look at
but
homes.
you know what I mean? Like it is, you know, like do something that you know, make it your own, like have some unique perspective because odds are by the time you need to sell, you can change things and, you know, make it more appealing and things like that too. But, you know, like go for that evergreen colored kitchen with the gold brass now, you know, like we actually have a listing very similar to that. And it was awesome. Like seeing like, oh, like I never would have thought of that. And then I'm told that that's the trendy thing right now. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that. Sorry, you know, like,
not
I'm
up on your Pinterest boards.
trendy, but yeah,
that's funny. So yeah, I mean, explaining that to buyers and sellers, and you've kind of touched on it a couple times too. If you're looking to sell your house, it's kind of like it's got to be dialed in.
yeah.
If you really, at least if you want that top dollar on whatever that range is on the market analysis,
and even days on market too. You know what I mean? Like that is a big thing. Like a lot of people are like contingent on another home, or like they, you know, we talk about with sellers the scale. Do you want the most amount of money on this side, like that you can possibly get, Scrooge McDuck style, or do you have to sell last week? Like, and they usually fall somewhere in between those two. And to find the perfect blend of that, you know, but have your house dialed in as much as you can is going to get that. So
how much more challenging has it been, like managing those expectations with sellers right now? Because I know that a lot of sellers still have this. I mean, everybody has the emotional attachment to their home and naturally loves it.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to want the higher end of that scale.
Yeah.
But if they're not up to the comparables, how are you having those conversations?
Well, what's funny is I feel like people are more educated now than maybe ever before. There's more like information for them. There's more, they can look at like how long things have been on. They have Zillow, Redfin's website, like realtor.com homes, like all, you know, there's so many things that are out there. They can look at that information. What they need is like a human or like us to come in and almost reaffirm. Like a lot of them have a little bit of fear. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to sell this, you know, or like, how long is this going to take? And again, we have a little blueprint and a layout. If you can do a couple of these things, maybe inexpensive things, or, you know, sometimes it's fixing a few things, but, you know, like we have a track record, 12 years or so of this. And like, we're going to get there, you know?
Yeah.
And so they're looking for that confidence a little bit. That gives them.
People are looking for guidance, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naturally, human nature is just to go to the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
What if it doesn't sell? What if I'm homeless?
Yeah.
Even though, I mean,
and they don't do this every day. This comes around, you know, maybe every 5 or 6 years. And so when I've been to 5 or 6 different appointments that day, and I'm telling them the same thing I told other people, like, we can do this if we have this plan, you know, they only think about it when it comes up, and we're in it every day. And I think that's you're going to see that like the AI and all this information and data, like people, you can do a whole bunch on your own in this world. Like you really can.
Mm-hmm.
But I think where value comes to have an agent is the knowledge and the experience and being in it every day. So
Yeah, absolutely. Then how are you advising buyers? Let's say, well, doesn't have to be a contingent buyer, like first time home buyer jumping in the market. How are you helping them navigate that?
Well, kind of similar, like narrow down exactly what you want, like know, and then when it comes on, be ready. And by being ready, the back end side of things or behind the scenes is having your finances correct, talking to a good lender. I think I know one. And one that we recommend. Again, you can go online for a lot of that stuff and just find all kinds of information and get all kinds of things put in front of you. But you really have to be prepared. So when the time comes, having like an approval, like knowing what that is, or we have to pay this off or do that, or move some things around, and then being ready. And then when the time comes, this is exactly what you're looking for. Like you have done all the hard part. Let's go get this now, and
have the plan in place before you just jump in. You touched on the financing piece. Again, people are just worried and nervous and they've never done it. And we do this, help 10 plus families a month, buy houses, things of that nature. And I just try to get them to focus on the numbers, right? The monthly payment, cash to close. What does it cost? That's what we buy things. We buy things on a budget. And then you obviously will help them determine the real estate stuff.
Well, and the relationship with a good lender is, like having a good numbers guy. I can have a client break the numbers down with Boone. You don't want me breaking them down. Again, we talked about it, Mediclick education. Like, love you guys. It's got me this far, but I'm not the numbers guy. And which is hard for me because I'm not this way naturally. I'm the like feeling guy. Like, hey, is this going to be what is going to be right for you individually? You for your growing or shrinking family, downsizing, upsizing. Like, you get to the point where that has to become something, and you really, again, if you have the data and the knowledge and you're working with somebody that's going to communicate that with you well, it becomes a lot. It's not that it's an easy decision, but you feel prepared when it comes time you see that house or that place in the valley that you've been looking for specifically, or a school district, like you're ready to go.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you so good is you're not an overly emotional person. You're very practical, and then you have the coaching background on all that and kind of seen it all and help people manage their emotions through the process and keep them focused on what's important. Or, you told me these were your most important things, let's kind of go back to that list and just make sure. And I think that's what we have to do is even at a lender with the number side of things is just bringing them back down to, hey, you told me your goals were this, when they're maybe getting excited about something or worried, is let's just run back through, the facts and what you were telling us initially and what your goals were.
100%.
So, okay, switching gears here. So this is kind of a fun one, I think. So,
fun. We're gonna have some fun here.
Do you know what your all-time, like, do you know how many deals you've closed? How many transactions you've closed in your career?
How many people I've helped, Boone?
Yes.
I don't. Do you?
I don't actually. I should know. I should have looked it up now that you say this.
But you were the
homework
guy.
I was just curious.
You're the behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, it's it's
I mean,
it's got to be well over 200, between 200 and 300.
I think I would say it's probably in the 400s.
400s?
Or maybe a touch
so
more.
400 transactions, we'll call it that. What's been, like, do you have any one specific transaction that stands out to you as most rewarding?
Oh, wow. One.
Even one if it's recent, and we don't have to have an all-time list here.
And we talked about the history of our market. Like, that's what's kind of sad for me is like your first-time home buyers aren't really. And I think we worked on this client together. I had people, they bought their first home. It's funny because I set their search up years later. They had a couple kids and they were just expanding and growing. Set their search up from when I had it saved, and I was like, the search was for $85,000 to $110,000, and I'm like, And they bought a home in that price range and they sold it for more than double that. And they were able to use that equity to roll into like another home and to get like they had advanced in their careers and some other, different, like I said, kids and life changes. There weren't people like that aren't going to be able to do that unless they like get into the market. And unless, you have to first play and get in to win the game, to be able to play. But that's the, stuff like that just makes me like,
those are fun.
You're doing it. You're leapfrogging up the chain of, like you're not probably building wealth, but you're like, you're not paying 100% interest rate to your landlord every month.
They are indirectly, but those moves are about the family, and
Yeah.
just seeing, like you're talking about the natural progression of life and
Yeah.
85 to 110. And then they're able to get the family size home now that they have a couple kids doing well in life and just helping them get settled and suit their family's needs. Now that natural progression was really fun to see for a while, but to your point, it's just going to be harder.
Yeah.
Just that much harder for people to get started and see that kind of success or an easier path for that move up purchase and, while still making it affordable today.
And you just do the numbers and it's like, why are we not doing this? And then now you're looking at people that have been in a home 3 or 4 years and they're kind of like, well, it's pretty lateral. I can only make maybe a lateral move that kind of
and your
makes
payment's
sense.
going to double.
Yeah. And they're like, that's what we're seeing. Like we have this demand for homes still, like you still have to live somewhere, but we're just not seeing, we're seeing the supply, I guess I should say. The demand is, well, I already have a place and I don't have to be somewhere. So, or I don't have to change that up. I'm already in a place. But yeah, stuff like that is, you're not going to get a ton of that anymore, which is sad in a way. But also, there's been, we help a ton of like people from Fairchild, like that are coming. It's fun and very nerve wracking, but some of you asked, the original questions, some memorable ones, like, hey, I only showed you video of this house. Like I'm going to meet you to go sign. And then here's your keys, kind of thing.
That's gotta be nerve wracking as an agent too.
Yeah. And we're very like thorough, even more thorough than like your typical, cause you have to be, that's the only way to really do those. We've had several people from like Japan, like, they're waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning because you can only get a showing at, I don't know, the time change 13 hours or something crazy like that. But, it's 1 p.m. here, 1 a.m. there, 2 a.m. Like here
Those
you go.
are fun.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that people don't know about real estate. It's like, hey, I got to stay up till 11 tonight so I can talk to this client when they got their lunch break in Japan.
Like, oh, there's my WhatsApp. They want to talk again, like, or Facebook Messenger, or however, FaceTime video, or.
I got a guy literally right now in Japan that's working with Lene on your team. That we're like, it's just Instagram.
Yeah, there you go.
Just chatting Instagram. So.
And they all have their own way of doing it. So I'm trying to keep up.
So, you talked about kind of the rewarding stuff, but tough deals. Do you have a toughest deal ever? Or is there one in particular recently that you're like, that was hard?
Yeah. People it's sad, and we do it all the time. I mean, we work with babies, new babies, death, divorces, new marriages, like they come in all shapes and sizes. It's not, and if you can't hang with those big changes, like it can be very overwhelming because they look to you again for like guidance, and
that's when they need you most.
Yeah, exactly. And so we've had some that they've become fairly desperate to like slash the price every other day or every weekend, and it's like, hang on, like
trust me,
we got this.
Like trust me.
We got to I show them the average days on market usually at that point, and so. Yeah, and when life happens, it happens, and it could be really hard to be involved in it in that regard. It's not happening directly to you, but our motto is we treat people the way we want to be treated, and you do feel that with people. So that's when they're going through it, you feel it too.
Well, and I know you take great pride in, and I know we've talked about this, but if I can relieve that stress for you.
Yeah.
If I can take of all the things you got going on in your life, if I can just make this one less thing that you have to worry about, and it's like, I got this, these are your numbers, you're good, or I'm going to take care of you on this. Trust me, we're going to get you negotiated well in this house, or I'm going to handle this sale. We're not going to let you fail. Worry about your life. Worry about the other stuff you got going on. what do you feel makes you different than other realtors? What do you think is like,
Well, there's a lot of
skill
us.
set or
How many? Do you
something
know
that
the
do?
stats? Like how many there are of us?
I
Like,
believe it's around 3,000, somewhere
Yeah.
between 2,800 and
that have a
3,000
license.
realtors,
It's-
licensed real
yeah.
estate agents.
in Spokane or the MLS or MLS probably. Yeah, I mean, I recently heard someone talk about this in a completely different setting about not real estate, but like to be clear, like I love the idea that I know exactly. I used to get and I know people do this. They get a case of like the Sundays, like Sunday rolls around, and you're like, oh, I know that I got to go back to work Monday, and like they don't look forward to it. And for me, we're just very genuine in ourselves, and like I've told the agents that work with me, like the same thing. Like you're different than me, I'm different than you, but like find what makes you unique and what makes you tick. You need more help and more guidance or more intervention, like I'm there for you. If you need hands off, like we'll do that too. But and sellers and buyers are similar in that regard. But for us, like we're clear on why we're doing this. Like again, it's not a paycheck and it's not the money. You get rewarded for doing the job right, And to be clear about exactly what you want to be is exactly how you can set yourself apart. And, that's how we feel like we can do that is I've actually had an agent recently ask, you're not really like active on social media a ton, or you're making these videos. And I'm like, yeah, like again, I put
Can't
my head
find you on TikTok?
Not on TikTok. Never had an account. And again, people that have it, that's them, and that makes them unique, and that's who they are. But we've just been really clear, like we're here to give 100% to our clients, to be there and get the job done and make it in a way where they're like, that was way easier than I ever thought it would be, or why didn't we do this earlier, or I was so stressed about this, and we got you, And with that said, that's referrals and the way people say you got to talk to Matt, and that's the stuff that makes me feel good about that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, and what I know about you is you're a technician, and what I mean by that is you're prepared.
The surgeon.
Yes, you have a defined process, and you know what works, and you know how you're going to help people, and you can give them that framework up front, and that gives them the certainty that you talked about earlier. So, I would say that's what definitely separates you, is this consistent process, and you deliver the same product to everyone, no matter who that is. And you also, because of that, run one of the best referral businesses that I know of in our market. I mean, people are so loyal to you. I don't know how many repeat clients that you've worked with in the time that we've been working together, but it's significant.
Yeah, a lot. So, I mean, I get introduced as like the family's agent, or we become such, they were clients, and we were in that relationship, and we're friends, and like things like that, and it goes a long way. But I think it's just, I just don't pretend to be something I'm not, and again, nothing wrong with the social media stuff, honestly, like
different ways to do it.
Yeah. I'm just know that it's not me, and I feel I can't be me if it doesn't feel right, and things like that.
And talking about the repeat clients, I was looking at a stat here before we started. Only 21% of people end up using the real estate agent that they used to buy the house initially.
Yeah.
But when they survey people after they just bought a house, they're at 86% say, I'd absolutely use Steve again or whatever.
Yeah.
But it only turns out to be,
but
20% of the time.
No, I'm just
kidding. Yeah, exactly. Then Matt swoops in.
His genuine personality won me over.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, those are interesting numbers, and
I think it's only going to get worse too because of social media, in that it's such a noisy world. We're so inundated with notifications and things, that somebody might just be like, oh, they're really funny on social media. And they might forget that Matt's helped 4 family members potentially previously, and you helped them buy the house.
Yeah.
I've heard that happen plenty of times. Like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about you. So,
well, I don't know the exact numbers, but people think about, like, you probably know 4 or 5 people in our industry. just, oh yeah, I went to high school with that person, and it doesn't mean they're always the best or that it's free. And like I've had even family or close friends that I haven't worked with, and I'm not burned or feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Some people just they have business and like maybe they don't need you involved in it just to save that friendship or relationship, and that's totally fine too,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And people can be funny about that for whatever reason. They're like, I don't want to use my cousin or my best friend for that, because like they don't want you to know their business. Versus like for us, and I know you feel the same way. There's no greater honor that you can get than having a friend or family member or whatever use you or trust you to help them with their mortgage or that personal real estate transaction.
The shoe drops on both feet too, or whatever the saying is, right? Like it's happened to us as well. And, like, and we get clients that are like, oh man, I use Susie Joe, and like, it was, so we don't take it lightly. Like we, make sure that they understand that this is a competitive industry, and sometimes you just have to have the right fit at the right time for your specific situation,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So what do you look for in a great lender partner?
Strikingly fun podcasts are the number one.
Oh, yes. Yeah, for sure.
No,
Check.
I mean, and honestly, people come with their own lender a lot of times, and I kind of a joke I have I'm not going to say him by name, but I have like a Mount Rushmore of like do not use.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's
big
like
box brands.
And it's because they don't do the things that I look for in a good one. And I'll keep it positive. Like the ones we look for in a good lender are communication. They can break things down. They're almost ahead of like, hey, I knew you were going to ask that. Like, I've already put this together for you. And a lot of times showing the numbers and going over scenarios and stuff is huge for them. Follow through is like another big one, like getting something closed by, that is probably the most stress that I get as, in our job is like, you're doing all these different things, wearing all these hats, but to leave somebody in a U-Haul, like on the side of the road on a, like that's not what we're looking for. And that, there are things out of sometimes you can control, but that a lot of times comes from the lender. And because, we didn't have this squared away, or like we thought we were good here, or we didn't communicate that we still needed this. And whether that's with because you also have like good client communication, but also the relationship with the agent is the communication has to be there, because there's a lot that goes on and everyone's busy, but at the same time, it's a huge thing for somebody to move.
And good agents and lenders are proactive, to your point.
Yeah.
In that staying ahead of potential issues and not being overly excited or emotional about, hey, we have a transaction going great. It's where could our potential pitfalls be and traps? How do we stay in front of that to make this go absolutely as smooth as possible?
Yeah.
So again, that fear is a good motivator, when it comes to that too.
And, speaking from experience, moved several times. Like I know that moving sucks. Like it totally does. And your life turns upside down for sometimes a week, a month, like longer. Like some people handle it better, but, like you just try to make that as smooth of a transition as possible. And again, the golden rule of
you guys worry about packing your stuff.
Yeah.
We got this side of it, once you're through inspection, especially, and we're rolling, usually have a approval already out of underwriting. Like, hey, we got this.
And you talk about retention, like there's nothing that's going to get somebody to say, I'll never talk to Matt again. Again, like living in a U-Haul for a night.
Well, you said, no, that's the worst. That is the worst. Rare that it happens, but
got good connections to hotels too. If you need we'll keep you out of the U-Haul. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought you.
I don't think we've really. I'm trying to think.
I don't think you've
horror stories of like. I don't know if I've ever really had.
I can think of one horror story I think you had. Didn't you do a final walkthrough where the toilet flooded and it had just funded or something?
It had.
Or you had done. I don't even remember. Exactly.
Dang, we're going there. You wanted to bring that one up.
Oh, I just remembered. Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
That's okay. No,
but stuff happens.
The toilet didn't flood. It was the $1.32 hose or whatever those are that connects the water to the toilet that had broke in literally like a day since like a walkthrough. And
just so unfortunate.
Yeah,
could happen. I mean, it's not anyone's fault, right? No. But obviously not the most exciting key handoff you could have.
No, not at all.
So, how do you think lenders and realtors can work better together, just in general, like in the industry as a whole?
Yeah, it's like doing the homework. Like actually, like we always check even if I'm the listing side, I'll call a lender when we get offers if we're even somewhat considering them. Have you verified? Have you looked into any of these things? Have they provided you the things you need? Like, are they just filling something out? That's where people can get in trouble, is you're just punching numbers on your phone or on the laptop, and then all of a sudden you think you're good to go and you're not, So that's the biggest thing, is the transparency of, like communication, and the transparency of, we've done a lot of these things.
How often do you have lenders call you on your listings if there's an offer in?
It's becoming more. I will say I hadn't really heard of it till you did it, probably.
Yeah.
8, 9 years ago when we kind of
long.
first met. Yeah. How long have you been doing this? We're talking about me. Let's turn the tables here now.
A little over 10 years.
Yeah. So, and I think we met maybe your first or second year from a mutual friend, but
I think it was like 2016.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
So yeah, about 9 years.
You played hard to get, man. I remember that.
Yeah. I
didn't answer my phone call for like 4 months.
Well, I always answer my calls. I probably answered it the first time, knowing who it was and having
another lender,
a bunch of lenders calling, or a bunch.
I think, in fairness, I think you had your second kid around that time too.
Yeah, that's true. That summer we had my
JL.
daughter, JL. So yeah, life's crazy.
It is.
She was in the NICU for a couple weeks, Boone. So
that's right. You can pass.
Yeah.
I know it's not your MO not to get back to people. So obviously we covered a lot of the real estate stuff. Who is Matt Raby outside
lightning
of
round.
real estate?
Well,
And what do you do?
Talking about kids, yeah, I'm probably at a gym or a field somewhere with the 3 kids we got. Where my wife and I are both pretty, sports backgrounds, and that's kind of like our hobbies and what we like to do. I do like to travel. If we're not at a sporting event, sometimes we'll travel to, go check out a Mariners game, or
That lake life.
the lake life. There's definitely like time at the lake, and it's just like you got to try to unwind. Like you have to be able to do a little bit of that, especially when you get a little bit of an opportunity.
Well, and you're in that crazy phase with kids too. And
Yeah.
your kids are sports crazed.
Yeah.
What's your range on your kids' ages again?
I have 11 and an 8 and a 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the 2 daughters definitely tag team the older 11-year-old son. So
Totally.
Eli's, bless his heart, man. He's he tries to hang in
Puts
there.
up with a lot.
He asks mom quite often for, can I have a brother? And we're like, it just doesn't work that way.
No.
And no. So
Oh man.
we've taken some steps, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I know
you're about to enter into the third child world, so I'm sure you'll be hitting me up for advice.
Blaze really wants that little sister, and Bodie's just like, boy,
Yeah.
I want a boy, I want a brother.
Yeah.
Tired of getting picked on.
Yeah, you got a tiebreaker to break here. We'll see how it
know.
goes.
We're going old school too.
Yeah.
We're not going to find out beforehand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Reveal day. I like it.
Yeah. Well, it'll be quite the reveal party for sure.
Like going real estate related extreme makeover, home edition. Move that bus. Like here's. Do you have the names? Like boy, girl?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't share. I'm just making sure you're prepared.
Hey, we're keeping the B theme going.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. We got some good ones.
Good.
They'll be unique, as you
They
can
gotta
expect.
be. Yeah.
So
Wouldn't expect anything less.
How cool has it been for you being the sports guy? I mean, like we have our group text going and
Washed up
constantly
sports guy, but
talking
sure.
smack on the Mariners, even though they're playing well. It's just it's
As we're
being a
recording
Mariner
this
fan
on
is hard.
May whatever.
29th,
9th, yeah.
May 29th. Yeah,
First
Mariners in
place. We'll
first
see.
place.
Right, Corey?
I think they were in first place this time last year too. Oh man. But how cool has it been, growing up around sports and loving sports, and then having your kids just all about it too?
Yeah. It's fun. You try not to live vicariously through them. Like there's so many people that do that. And so it's been a really fine balance of like, you got to want to do this. we also want to introduce them to things. Like we're letting them, like at one time doing softball and soccer at the same time, or like whatever, like. But I don't care if my kid's playing the drums, like one tries to do, or my daughter wanted to get an electric guitar at one point when she was like 6, and I'm like, well, your mom and dad have zero music ability, so good luck there. Like, you're not getting any from me, but we just, you got to be doing something. But, sports has been a big part of our lives for a long time. And there's so much awesome stuff you can learn from that. Like, that's the main reason why you do it. A lot of like what you can do on your own, you'd be surprised. And for, when you're 11 or 12 to start learning that type of stuff is pretty cool, and be able to see that. And we're just super competitive. I mean, we probably have friends that probably think we're too competitive.
Because Teresa was a college basketball player.
Basketball player at Whitworth, and
you were intramurals champ at least. Right?
Intramurals champ, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't play games at the house Uno without almost people in tears sometimes. Who's
spiking the board?
Yeah.
Garbage.
One of our favorite ones is Shut the Box.
Great game.
You know that game?
That's fun.
Okay, the dice and
We played it at the Plains Men's League every night. Everybody tossed in some money. And it's rowdy.
Box. Oh yeah,
it's exciting.
And to sometimes you just get it in between, like hopping in the car to go to school and get around in, or you can get along.
I can't remember how old that game is. I think it's Scottish originally, and I want to say it's 600, 700, 800 years old or something crazy.
Grandpa Z was first on the scene for us to show us that one. So
it's fun.
Yeah,
that's cool. So got the sports running. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you do it all. I'm amazed. You
Are bags in my eyes here? Like, feel
well,
like
I know you're
sometimes.
an owl, man. I always wake up to text from you and Corey just going crazy, and I'm just like, I can't even. Yeah, get back to you. So
sleep. We'll sleep when I'm dead.
Optional. Yeah, sleep optional. Just running the real estate business that you do at the level you do while running around to every diamond in, Spokane County is impressive.
That's been fun. Like I'm not a baseball guy at all.
Didn't grow up as one, right?
Quit in 6th grade because didn't like it. Like just wasn't for me. But I think my dad probably wished I would have played more because he always enjoyed it and stuff like that. But to see one of my kids like take it on himself and want it, and it's not from me. Like I'm like, I just get to come be dad, and it's awesome. Like so that part's been really cool. But it's definitely I find that I like certain aspects about things, so then I dive really deep. So like right now I'm really into like pitching, like grips, and like I was talking to different people about, there's just arm angles, and just I'm a weirdo, but
dude, and
it's fascinating to me
with the advancements. Even since I don't feel that old. I'm 36, but from the time that I quit playing baseball in college in 2012 till now, the information that's out there and the changes and mechanically and stuff because of analytics and data and everything, it's easy to get down those rabbit holes. Yeah, for sure. Because I remember, I think it was 4th or 5th grade, my dad went to the library and checked out a book. Leo Mazzoni, who was the pitching coach for the Braves during the 90s when they had Smoltz and Glavine and Maddox, Mad Dog. And it was just about grips and stuff like that. And I always had a pretty good circle change because of that book and just started playing catch with that. Yeah. But now it's like, man, the stuff that I see out there and the mechanics and sports performance in general, it's pretty incredible.
I never appreciated it, like, and then you got guys that can, these major league guys can just make up a pitch 1 month and like, I'm going to throw it in a game. We'll try.
I just saw one this week. It's like the kick change now that they got. It's like, it's almost like a knuckle curve grip, but it's like a kick change where they still pronate and essentially kick with one finger on that off the knuckle. And it's just wild. I don't know.
That's why I've liked it, because I started watching more, and I just was fascinated about like these guys can throw triple digits. The ball's got drop and movement like across the plate, like 16, 17 inches here and there, and I'm like,
I don't know how these guys hit.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
No,
it's unbelievable.
They don't, unfortunately. Like for for your entertainment value too.
Yeah, bring back the 90s. Get the juice back into baseball, please. Chicks dig the long ball, right?
Totally.
Brett Boone. But okay, rapid fire. You ready? Dream house, what would that look like?
Oh,
what's the setting? Paint the picture.
Setting. Well, when my kids are gone, I'm already or out of the house, not gone. Sorry. But I don't know. Like I like mid-century. I like open space though. Like I could see like a mid-century, like modern type house on a couple acres, probably with some water nearby. Like that would be me. I have a weird thing that once I've seen it, I really like houses. Again, dream houses here. Like being super picky.
We're dreaming.
Like, sorry, people, like your $500,000 house in Spokane, this probably isn't going to happen. But I've seen where people have garages like on the side of their house.
Yes.
And I guess architecturally, it's really hard to like balance out your house and make it appealing like that. But
I love that too, though.
if I could design something and like you don't like, I see a lot of these houses that are just like garage.
It's just,
And then you have the little bitty house on the side.
So
So
that was
again,
a lot of like 90s builds.
yeah.
Were that way.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
garage is just
Yeah.
so prominent
Yeah.
in it.
And I get it, it's functionality and all that, but yeah, dream house, that would be my
Okay. Mid-century modern, acreage near water.
gotta have some
Side
water.
garage.
Side garage.
Side garage. Favorite neighborhood in Spokane in general?
Oh, I mean, you can't go wrong. South Hill is going to be, you're walking around Manitou, up in that area. It's money. Yeah. Again, Downriver is like the little brother of the South Hill. Like it's South Hill Light, I guess, or price wise, or, it's probably maybe comparable even, but
Similar feel, lower prices.
Yeah.
Great area.
yeah, exactly. But you can still get, I can't knock 5 Mile.
I was gonna say, you got it. Like, how's the bed? How's the
mean,
bed living in the suburbs now?
We got cul-de-sac kids,
You
like
went from a dirt road
it's
to
wild.
just living that.
Yeah, doing a lot of asphalt, scrapes and bruises already. Like the kids are just rallying out there.
Scooters hitting cracks.
Yeah, they're
Taking
telling
some
cars to
headers.
stop. Like I own the streets here. Like the Raby's moved in, so yeah.
You got any beef with neighbors yet?
No.
Like, are the neighbors like annoying you? Like,
Oh no.
John over there doesn't take his garbage can in on garbage day.
No, like I've told you a little bit about this, but man, there's a guy on my block that it's
Putting
a
everybody to shame.
full-time job, and I'm kind of mad that like my yard doesn't look quite like his, and I like a good clean yard and all that.
He's out there with scissors, making sure the edging is.
He's got all the time in the world too. I'm coming and going in the car and picking up and running to appointments, and I'm just like, he's still out here, and I'll come back 3 hours later, he's still here. Like,
Yes.
Bless his heart. He can come over to mine anytime and help me out too. But,
Yeah. Yeah. You might have to hire him.
No.
As much time as you're at ball fields.
I don't know if I can
and
afford him.
Run real estate. Probably
He's
not.
good.
I
He's
know.
good.
Worst home feature you've ever seen in a house?
Oh boy. Worst home feature. I've seen some people try to squeeze in some bathrooms, like in like rooms off of stairwells and stuff. Like, the ceilings are coming and you got to kind of like crouch down to sit down on the toilet.
Harry Potter's room under the stairs.
Yeah, but they're like, oh, we'll put a full bath in here. And I'm like, that's, I know that is supposed to give you some value, but that's not going to really help. But yeah, I've seen a few of those. It's kind of weird. Really early on, I was showing a house on the South Hill like that, and the people were looking at it like, both of them were like, we can make this work. And then I talked to them like later that night or something. They were like, yeah, that's not going to fly. Like we're not using that bathroom every day.
Yeah.
And to have one bathroom and like, I guess they move, like, I don't know. These old houses have some weird stuff. I don't know. Like I'm not a negative guy, Boone. Like I love a good sport court. I love a good, like some of that stuff's people really look for those things.
Okay. So sport court is
Mr.
his favorite
Negative.
feature. Sorry.
Sport court.
Can you have a sport court next to your side garage? Is that kind of your
You
dream?
probably could, or behind it or something, or you
Yeah.
don't want to advertise to everybody that
Totally.
you got this
Totally.
court. Like I'm over here working on my game, rain dance.
Weirdest showing experience.
Ooh, weirdest. Well, we've walked in on a couple squatters before.
Ugh.
I've told a couple people this. This will be good on the old podcast. I was showing a house to, and I'll give them a shout out, the Johnsons, Allie and Jeremy.
Okay.
And I probably remember this, but maybe they didn't see as much as I did, but I knocked on the door. We had an appointment, all these things. I'm knocking on the door and I hear the TV on, which like noises aren't way
not
out of
normal.
line. Yeah. But then I open the door and I see a chair just rocking. And like, I don't know how old she was, but 90-year-old grandma was sitting there watching like The Price is Right during the week. More power to her. Except for there was a dog in the background barking, like a little lap dog. I don't remember what it was, but I just see this girl like running out of like the shower. And I think she barely had on maybe like a little bit of underwear or something, but she's just way in the back, like getting her dog. And like, and I'm just like, oh, like, sorry, you know, like I thought we had an appointment. And so we waited, you know, gave him 5-10 minutes. And
was
like,
grandma in her own world the whole time?
oh yeah, she didn't even move. She was just like, this is normal chaos. I don't know if her hearing aids weren't in or like
just loving life.
or they were on the showcase showdown or something, like gripping television. But that was an interesting one. I mean, I had Lene find a squatter and she calls me, and my first thing is like hang up and like, are you in danger? Like call 911 or call, you know, crime check or something, you know. So, but
that's funny.
Yeah. We always check. I always got to check.
Yeah,
before.
You want to announce yourself too.
Yeah.
Get yourself in bad situations these days. One word describe Spokane real estate in 2025.
Volatile. How's that one?
That's good.
It's probably doesn't need explanation, but just up, down, don't know where things are going to go. I mean, one week we had rates dip below 6, right? And then by the following, whatever political thing was announced and reactions happened, like shot back up.
Totally.
Yeah. Like not fun. So.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because what are the market stats? 2.2 months of inventory, something like that. It feels more like a transitional market, even though that would tell you statistically that it's a seller's market. Yeah. But I'm seeing competition in some of the higher end stuff that is just wild to me.
Yeah.
You know, 700 to over $1 million.
Yep.
But then your Shadle neighborhood that you mentioned earlier,
got a lot for sale.
There's a lot in there. And normally that's the stuff that just turns.
And that's what I'm saying. Best bang
really
for buck in that area. But just maybe not separating themselves enough to like, you got to be of 12 houses in a quarter-mile radius, like that are on the same price. Like, are you going to separate yourself from the others and be better in some way, cleaner, or better layout? Some things you can control, some things you can't. Better price, you can control that. So, but yeah, it's volatile, up, down. Really got to just move the needle to make people move right now. So
yeah, man, that was fun. Thanks for coming on.
We're done.
Yeah.
Look at that.
This is awesome. So where can people find Matt Raby not dancing on TikTok? So you won't find him there.
Dwight Merkel, 6 p.m. Friday night. No, baseball. No. That's generally.
Where can they follow you if they want more information?
Online. I mean, you can always Google us. If you like this, throw us give us a sweet review. Like that guy, I could listen to him for 30 minutes, like. Facebook, we're on Instagram, Raby and Company Real Estate, YouTube. Like we got, maybe I should do more on there, but we do have a lot of our places online. Corey and Lene Dawson, the 3 agents that are working with us. Corey puts out some good golf content, so a lot of him cursing and bleeping out out in the weeds. Nah, he's real good.
Corey finds a fairway.
Lene's usually finding a sunset, and Dawson puts me to shame. That kid can beat me up. I'm sure he's buff and usually in a gym.
I'm not picking a fight with Dawson.
No. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, man, appreciate you. Absolutely. People would be lucky to have you as their agent. So
I appreciate you having me on, and this has been fun. And
yeah, we'll do it again.
Can we get some Chipotle, some protein or something here?
Let's go hit some Chipotle. Absolutely. I am hungry.
Where is it?
I don't know.
You told me you were having that.